The different roles we play in people's lives, but you could also say the different roles people play in our lives. Like, subscribe, and share. It came to me to record this video during my meditation today, and I don't know exactly how it came up, so maybe it's not relevant for me to share, but it's interesting if you look back at the people who came on your path throughout your life, how all of them contributed, how all of them made a difference in some way, how all of them taught you something. And you may say like, oh, but not that horrible boss I had, or that annoying neighbor, or my really bad parent, or other kind of family member, or that bully at school. Yet, also these people taught you something. For example, during my early 20s, I had a neighbor who was like huge, physically huge. And so he was using that big volume of his body to intimidate people. It took me a while to realize that he was actually very insecure. And that's why he was being mean at people, trying to make them feel bad so he could feel less bad than them. And so he was bullying. And in your early 20s, of course you play loud music. He was doing the same, but if I would be doing it, he would get mad at me. But then he would play his hard rock or metal or whatever horrible stuff he was playing. I mean, I was playing house, that was nice, house music with a nice beat, but he was like these horrible electrical guitars. And at least would have been Joe Satriani. And he even came once into my room, because I was living in this student complex and we were 14 people sharing one kitchen, and just entered my room, grabbed me and started choking me until he realized that I was going to my hip and he was afraid that I would be hurting him with something. So that's when he let go of me, and yeah, indeed I had my Swiss Army knife there and I was prepared to just grab it and stab him. I mean, if somebody comes in your room in your house and just starts choking you. He was also very racist, and he was bragging how at his work he was, because he was working as, how do you call it, as a parole officer. So he was bragging how he was bullying the young people from different origins, the non-white people. And he was really proud of that and saying how he was poisoning their lives. And then a year or so later, I started having a boss who was like that. Okay, he was not physically attacking me, but he was doing it in all possible ways. And that guy was basically teaching me to stand up for myself. Both were. But in one case, I was intimidated. First, I was intimidated by the big physical body of my neighbor. But with my boss, it was different because actually his boss liked me. But I was still squeezed in between. And if business would not go well, the boss of my boss would be also looking at me like, But I learned to stand up for myself. And actually me standing up once, like didn't caring who had which rank, and I just actually kicked the ass of the customer services manager because he lied to a customer and I had the customer in front of me in my store. And doing that and not being afraid of any consequences because I was just doing the right thing led to a promotion. And that actually taught me something. And I know that even the boss, my boss, was not loved by everyone. But he and I, we understood each other. We knew each other's strengths, but also each other's weaknesses, and we respected each other. And we didn't judge what we didn't like. And that's where things start, with the judging. So we all have these people that come in our lives who are nice to us, who help us, who are caring, who are loving. But then we also have those people who are the total opposite. So one group you're like, yeah, we want more of those. The other one, no, we don't want them. But both of them are teaching us something. The loving ones are teaching us that love is the only thing that really matters. And so you should start with loving yourself, taking good care of yourself. Just think of all the things you do for those that you love and start doing them for yourself. Even if you would start with only half of it, I'm quite sure you would be shocked. You'd be shocked to know how much you're doing for others but not for yourself. And then you would start to realize that it actually feels so good to take good care of yourself. And that's how you start to get through difficult periods in your life. That's how you get actually stronger, how you build up more resistance. And that's also when you start to realize that those other people are just there to teach you something, and as soon as you've learned their lesson, they will just disappear. Or change. And you and I are sometimes one kind and sometimes the other. Sometimes we are the loving, the caring, helpful. Sometimes we are that pain in the butt. We are that super annoying person, that person who keeps triggering, that person who pushes the buttons, who pushes us around, who even feels like bullying sometimes, or is saying those things that hurt. Yeah, I was accused a few days ago by somebody like, yeah, and why are you being so mean to me? And now I feel shit, and you make me feel this bad, it's all because of you. And the only thing I did was saying to that person, please stop saying all those horrible things about yourself. Start being nice to yourself. You're not a victim, so I'm not going to treat you as one. So just be nice to yourself. You're only harming yourself by saying all those bad things about yourself. It's the only thing I said. And later on I realized that person was just his way of asking for attention. I'm not in the mood to give that kind of attention. I'm sure I've played that game as well in the past. I cannot recall a specific moment, but we all had those moments. But that's not how we actually grow. It's not by responding to people playing the victim and that you go like, oh, poor you, and you go cuddle them and keep them in that victimhood. That's not how you help them. Instead, you help by showing them how great they are, and also by telling them to stop the crap. I mean, if they really want to play victim, you can either ignore them or just tell them. But don't play that game, because you're absolutely not helping them. The opposite is actually true. You are only making things worse for them and for yourself, because they're draining your energy. They're sucking your energy. And the same way, you can also have people who disagree with you, and they can do that in such a harsh way that you may not want to talk to them, or that you feel really upset by them. But then you have to ask yourself, why is it affecting me? Why do I get angry if somebody disagrees with me? If somebody has a different view on something? I mean, there are 7 point something billion people in the world. So of course there are going to be different viewpoints on things. There are going to be different opinions. Why do I need to get upset if somebody has a different viewpoint. From that person's perspective, things look very different. Simple example. Freedom fighter terrorist. Those who fought the Germans, the French who fought the Germans, were in La Résistance. They were heroes. But for the Germans, they were traitors, because Germany invaded France. So France was part of the great Germany, because Hitler made Germany great again. And so these people were very bad people. So they should be shot for treason. So it's just a different perspective. And the same thing happens in daily life. And of course, we can look back at situations and start to feel guilty. Guilty because we hurt somebody. And I did hurt people by just being myself. And I started feeling guilty for that at certain moments when I realized. But then recently I realized, yeah, but it was my role. That person didn't stand up for himself. That person was behaving in such a way that he became like a doormat almost. Or he literally became a doormat. So then you need to step on that person. That's what the person needs. And when we are by nature good people, good on the inside, loving people, we cannot do this consciously. So unconsciously we'll do things that hurt these people, so that eventually they will realize that they're just laying down there on the floor, and if they lay there in front of the door, they become the doormat. And so us stepping on them unconsciously is doing them a favor. And of course the people say, oh, that's just an excuse for your bad behavior and blah, 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 blah. Fine, if that's what you want to believe, fine. But I'm looking at the bigger picture. I zoom out and look at the bigger picture. This is why I decided today, also during my meditation, that actually I will make a list. A list of all the names that I can remember of the people that did something good for me. That did something that helped me grow. That did something that contributed to me being who I am today. And I will not split the list in 2 or 3 categories. No, I will put all the names together. Maybe chronologically or alphabetically. I guess alphabetically would be the easiest, because I can do it in Excel, and if I remember a name, I just stuff it in there. I don't need to think like which year was it, or somebody played a role here but then played again a role there. No. So this is just me thinking out loud. But I will put all the names. The horrible boss is ahead. The horrible neighbor. Thank you to both of you, and you know who you are if you're ever watching this video. You know. And maybe you'll be like, this guy is crazy. Or you're like, okay, I can let go of what I was feeling. Fine. But also those who were kind. Those who just crossed my life for a few seconds to help me realize something. And I encourage you to do the same, to make a list like this and to see. Because you may be astonished how many people came in your life and directly or indirectly contributed. Or maybe just planted a seed, and then today you can see that actually that person, I didn't know why he came, but now actually I can see. He planted that seed by saying that thing or doing that thing or showing something. There were people who by doing nothing in a certain situation inspired me to find more inner peace and to work on myself. which happened, for example, when an uncle of mine visited back in 2003, 2004. And I looked at him and was like, oh wow, if I would only reach 50% of his peace, that would be so great. And then many years later, I was talking with him and he got upset about something. I was like, whoa, chill, man. I was like, I'm not getting that upset about this. And I was like, oh wow, I actually went so much further than what I hoped for back then. But this was like 10 years later. And that's beautiful. And I believe I told him this, that he inspired me. And I started at a certain moment, after 2012, I started reaching out to people and telling them how they inspired me, how they helped me realize things, how they taught me things of my life, and to say thank you. Even one of those horrible bosses, he didn't pick up, but he definitely recognized my number. And he didn't call back. But I know the message got through, and for me it was the most important thing because I made my peace. Whether him picking up or not was not relevant. I made my peace because I understood that he was just there for me to learn something. And this is exactly what I have also been doing in other people's lives. Those who loved me, those who hated me, those who hurted me, but also those that I hurted. And generally people do this unconsciously. It's a minority of people who actually hurt others on purpose. It's often by not knowing or because it was simply a karmic agreement. I do believe in reincarnation, and I have seen so many things in my life that I just know. It's not just a belief. I know it exists, and I also know that I made agreements with certain people. I also know that my soul was like, ha, we're gonna do that thing. No sweat. And that's sometimes like, seriously? Come on! You had very high expectations from me. It's not as easy as it may look for you from up there. I'm here actually in the 3D, in the middle of the mud, and you just expect me to keep reaching that goal within whatever deadline. But yeah, we do this, and we agree. And we agree to play roles in other people's lives. And sometimes it's a beautiful and loving role, and sometimes it's that very tough role, which takes a lot of love. Because if you want to be tough on somebody you love, that's not easy. Not for a soul, but also not for a human being. When a parent needs to punish his kid because the kid did something bad, and the kid needs to learn something, parent is not happy that he has to punish. But he has to, and he does it out of love because he wants his kid to actually learn something. And we are all kids, in a way of speaking. We are all learning. Life is one big learning process. So I encourage you to make a list and to write down all those names and to take a few seconds per person just to say thank you and to realize what that person did for you. And in some cases you may want to reach out to that person, in some cases you just want to write down that name, and it's fine because when you do it from here, then the message is transmitted. It's just like in family constellations or system constellations. The energy is transmitted and the effect is there. You may not clearly see it at the start, but you will see the effect. You will see the ripples in the water. And this also means stop judging yourself so harshly for all the mistakes you made. Go back in here. Stay connected with here. And you will feel less guilty about the things you do because you will do less things that you may consider being harmful. And even if you're being tough on someone, You will do it from here, so you know it's the right thing to do in that moment and in that situation for that specific person. Whether that person will appreciate it in that moment or not is irrelevant. If you know, then that's what you do. If you're in here, you will also say the right things in the right moment. It will just come out. And I had to learn this, because someone would say things like, oh, what did I just say? And then people would look at me, the eyes would grow bigger, and they're like, you're right. Yeah. You're really right. And I was like, oh, phew. So, at a certain moment, I just started trusting. What comes out is what needs to be said. Even if people get upset, if they start to cry or get angry or whatever, irrelevant. It's not my job to judge. My job is to live from here. Your job as well. And for that, you can meditate, you can ground. And meditation not only sitting like this. There are many ways of meditation and grounding. Go to my website, intuitiv.me. You see it written on the screen. And go to tips and tools. You will find grounding somewhere in the middle in the list. And I believe first or the second from the top is relaxation and refocus. And then you will find some tools for meditation. And I believe I also share different ways of meditating. But in case you need help and you want more, just contact me and ask me. I did a course last year for grounding, actually. Grounding, cleaning, recharging, shielding. And in the corporate world you would call it relaxation, refocusing, stress prevention, stress reduction. The same thing, just different names. And yeah, you can really benefit from that. And I can teach you different ways, and you choose from that what works for you. I will not tell you like, okay, this is the only way to do something. No, I will share with you. And you will practice and feel what feels good for you. And this will help you to get more in contact with here. And then from here you will know what to do. You will know how to relax from that moment on. You will know what to say. You will know when to act and how to act. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to use the tips and tools. And see you in the next live or in the next video. Have a wonderful day or evening, wherever you are on the globe.